Hi everyone. Hope all of you are having fun day today. Thank you, Ron. Always glad to be here. My name is Bala. I'm a cloud solutions architect. I spend most of my time working with customers to how they can digitally transform themselves. And I'm going to give you guys an overview of what Microsoft is doing in terms of the government platform. You can run any technology, but vision do matters a lot. That's why we concentrate a lot on the vision and how we are going to help you navigate that journey from where the governments are as of right now and how can they transform themselves. If there is any questions, please post it in the chat window. And Ron, you can stop me always. So we in Microsoft has been working with government for a series of long time. That being said, we all know where the government is, and government is divided into multiple federal, state, and local cities and things like that. So in general, what we are seeing is like we are seeing all government needs to have these six principle, almost a pillar to change. Like first is the redesigning the service delivery. How are they going to cut across the bureaucracy and provide accountability and make it much faster? How do we bring in um, modern technology approaches and managing and providing security for the government agencies and plus also the citizens and the public, right? How do we prioritize responsible to use the new technologies and be I mean, as you know, government technologies are very old at this point, but how can they be always innovative and take advantage of the new technology at the same time? Trust. I mean, trust is a key thing, and they want partners that can provide that as well. And how do we cut across these silos of all these agencies having different data siloed? Like DMV has its own, and Social Security has its own. Like, how can we the police departments all they have their own. They do share, but that sharing is being pretty much very challenging. And also, of course, I mean, just bringing them to a technology does matter, but it's we also have a responsibility to empower people, which means they need time to optimize and learn new skills and try to figure out how to build resiliency and new systems that can actually cater to the next generation, right? So these are some of the things that we actually see that's happening in the industry. Um, so let's talk about COVID. As you know, most of you probably you have heard this repeated with everybody. Um, COVID has amplified the digital transformation in crazy. Not just this doesn't apply only to government, but it also to the industry. If you look at it with everybody shut down, everybody went remote working. So how can we provide government employees to work in from remotely? There used to be this myth saying that if you come to office, you work. I mean, honestly, that's debatable. But how can we work from office or even from home? How can we provide an hybrid approach? How can we provide um, operational resiliency, or how can we provide systems that can scale as you need? And how can we take advantage of that and build new services that can match match the current technologies and also provide faster time? Like I was thinking about this yesterday. Like if you go to a DMV, regardless of what you do, it's minimum an hour. Because you have to go stand in the line for information, then they take you and then they send you down somewhere else, and you have to sit there. I mean, why when we have technologies that can do in so many different ways and make it much easier, right? And also, how do we provide emergency support and how do we scale when we need in emergency scenarios? These are all some things that we have learned in the COVID times. things have been crazier. The developments have done faster. I heard that there's a statistics that the things that used to happen in 2 years got amplified in like 6 months because of the COVID. So you can see the scale. And and we did an analysis of like, hey, where the governments are, what are the stages they are in, and this cut across is like the we call it the government maturity model, but that's cut across all agencies. Analog government is the one that majority of it is analog government, which is like very siloed, very heavy process driven, and it takes a longer time to get anything kind of done. And then you have this transactional and service oriented, and then the intelligent government. We'll talk about all these things. Like look at the people and culture, governance rules, and technology and data. Those are the most common piece that any government agency has to look, right? So let's talk about what these maturity model are, right? If you take an analog government, they're very single agency focused, waterfall approach, hierarchical. The data is siloed. They keep it to themselves. Talking to each other is being extremely a process driven and time consuming process. One agency has to fill certain forms, give it to other agency, and then someone has to take a look at it. And so there is always been that like complex process and less data sharing, which obviously, I mean, there is nothing that we survived all this time, so it's not a bad. But as technology grows, we see that there is a huge gap over there. And then you have this transactional government where the government actually even though it is siloed, within the silo they develop like portals and websites, and they have their own application to figure out like what the process should be, and they do have some people trained within that particular agency alone. It doesn't cut across everywhere, and then the budgets are managed within that, and of course there's still the data sharing and things like that is still heavily dependent. Even within this transactional government, like even the individual softwares that they build, they don't talk to each other, which is where the huge gaps are. Which means like this is where the siloed effect comes in play. Let's go to the next one. This is something kind of a little bit newer. This is more on like the government agencies. Sometimes it's siloed, sometimes they do have cross-agency connection, but they provide citizen services like the DMV has. Like we can renew your car registration online. You don't have to go to the DMV at all, right? But for license, you have to go. So there are bits and pieces of the services that are online. Still today, there are services that you can't fill Social Security online, or you can fill it online, then you have to print it and take it and go. So things like that. I mean, there are quasi-enabled, and it's still siloed. They do have some microservices architecture, which you probably would hear about it. Yes, they allow us to communicate with each other, but then there are policies in place that also makes it harder, right? But they do have some cloud technology in place and strategy, which obviously we'll talk about that. Now, this is the pillar that I would love the government to be, but this is where you're cutting across every barrier. So intelligent government, what that means is like you're gonna the government agencies can talk to each other, share information securely in a trustable fashion. How can AI and technologies like blockchain or IoT help them build new services? Say, for example, can I go rent a bike in a city for smart city, and can I use my phone and pay using blockchain to maintain the transaction and create an citizen experience in a city? things like that. And also like you see cameras all over the places, and they're watching us and they're doing AI on it. But Microsoft is very much we do understand what the um, outcomes of AI can be wrong. So we put a lot of effort in doing responsible AI. And we are also working with government agencies to make sure that the AI standards are um, it's in a good way rather than it is becoming a negative effect. With that said, how do we apply all these things and build a digital government, right? How can we be all connected with each other, plus at the same time our services are offered and all the systems kind of can talk to it? It's a huge dream. And I do understand that, but that's how we kind of look at the intelligent government. And we'll talk about some of the I'll show you some of the use cases and how customers are moving towards it. And as you know, like not only we do this in US, since Microsoft is a global company, we have a responsibility to make sure that every country and every government is being protected and secured, and their citizens can trust their government's information, right? Basically, their platform, that whatever they're building. Um, Now, that being said, let's see some of these examples. Like this one is an Montreal Jewish hospital in Canada. Because of the COVID, what they started getting so many intake in response for beds, and people are lining up, and they couldn't provide outpatient support for the other existing patients. They had to shut it down. So they have so many issues here. So they figured out that demand is increasing, and how can they actually make it better? How can they not bring all the physicians in one place? Rather, like, can they remotely collaborate so that if they not necessarily have to be there, they don't need to be there, right? End of the day, our goal is to protect citizens and protect people regardless. So they developed quickly, came with Microsoft and developed a solution with HoloLens, where the physicians, if they can't come, they can even be remote and physically see what you are seeing if you are in the facility, and provide that remote assisted support. This happened in 2 weeks, because we have a product called in Dynamics Remote Assist. So you can see how technology helps you to perform your process better. Right. So that's the factor that we go after. And then this is in the Philippines government, where the Supreme Court, they had the same problem, like after the quarantine, like the cases were jumping up and down, and they were not able to. They were really struggling because they're very confined and they're well prepared if you go there in physical location. Um, so they actually created a solution with using our Microsoft 365, so that people can actually waiting in trial and things like that can do virtual hearings and allow them to reduce their gap. Now, this could be, even you can take this and you can apply for a DMV kind of scenario. You don't have to go there if they want to see you physically. Rather, they can see you through Teams or through video conferencing, and can they do something about it, right? Just to give you an example, this is then another example that how you can see we cut across like all agencies. We care about every one of them. This is then another in the city of Japan, where the COVID cases started raising, and they couldn't handle it. Now, this is a classic mobile app that our easy to use Power Apps. We have what we call the citizen development, which means we want to provide every user the capability to develop something, applications, and become smart. You don't have to know programming languages. You can just drag and drop, click and select, and just configure and create an app. This was built super fast, and then they were able to scale with our platform. And of course, the city was doing like 40,000 daily calls related to COVID, and then that reduced to like 4,000 or something like that. As you can see, like there are certain services they took and they moved it to the app, so that the app can take care of it, so they can release the people who are actually occupied at that time because we needed those people to help the COVID patients, right? So that you can see like how technology is helping you to be successful. This is a great story. This happened in Belgium, so you can see like variation of governments in different countries. They wanted to have they had like an government area where like too much traffic that is coming in. So they built an like a mobility platform, like a microservices architecture was involved, and some AI was involved to provide like dynamic routing scenarios to clear the traffic and improve it. Like they basically they were using this for the congestion, so people can actually not spend more time in traffic, rather they can come and spend time in the areas where the living area is. Like they were providing scooters, bicycle. You can probably rent all those things with phones and things like that. So as you can see, like I mean, there are stories like this. This is an European Parliament story that we did that also. Here we are using a lot of AI technologies, and we are very careful about AI technology when we say like we put. Again, I can't stress enough for you guys to tell you that why we put so much stress is like we want to make sure that AI is doing the right thing. We don't we put an extreme amount of money on it, and there are reasons for that because we run pretty much 100% in trust. So if we can't provide the trust to the government and to the governments, I mean the citizens of the world, then there is no point, right? So and we put an extreme amount of money and investment on it. We do have a largest partner ecosystem who actually do government type projects, and they're all like GCC high, and they're certified with FedAMS and things like that, and so they know what the government agencies are looking for, and they also help build products for government agencies with that in mind. And not only that, we are also a humongous security and compliance list we have. We have compliance list and security across like most countries. You name it, we have it actually compliant, because that is one of the thing. And we spend like $1 billion every year just for the cybersecurity to figure out that we keep our platforms secure. We put a lot of effort on figuring out if somebody is going to hack. I mean, as you know, I can't promise you that there will be 100% hack free. But we put a lot of effort on trying to figure out when I can figure out this some attack is going to happen before, and can we actually do something about it before in hand rather than waiting at the end. So you can see how much we put money into it to make sure that this is safe as possible. Now that being said, now let's go to the other parts that where we are actually doing is one of the thing that we, since it's a citizen service, we are looking at like accessibility as an area where like how we can help government agencies to build that. This is in we have, so our most of our tools are accessible, and most of the development that we do, we keep accessibility in mind, and we provide that for the government agencies and partners to build on top of it. The second point is a responsible AI. Now this one is, as you know, AI has advanced a lot of digital transformation and a lot of your tasks as well. Now, we want our customers to make sure that they are using the AI in the right way, and we want the AI not to replace their task, but AI to provide insights for them. So this is where a government employee can, for government employee, the AI can actually help you, give you better insight so that you can do your job, do the job better versus replacing a task, right? Yeah, there are some large-scale mass production tasks that you can do automate, but those are already done by machines. So we also make sure that put a lot of money in here in the responsible AI section so that you can see, you can peel the AI black box and make it a white box and see what is inside in it, or a glass box. You can do error analysis. You can also do like fairness assessment to make sure that, okay, the AI is considering every single possibilities. So that those are some of the areas that we put a lot of concentration, which we pass it on to you guys as a government employees and things like that to build upon it. So you don't have to worry about that, right? And then sustainability is extremely huge. Like if you look at our president, what he's talking about is like he wants to be carbon neutral by 2030. What does that mean? That we, as you know, we have the most amount of data center regions besides any other cloud vendor. And all our data center, when we build, we make sure that we actually um, put a lot of effort in getting renewable energy, reducing carbon, using less water. Can we take the carbon dioxide and make it and recycle it and then release the oxygen out? Like, you know, how can we make our planet Earth sustainable? And we put an extreme amount of money lately for the. I mean, we've been doing this for the past 10 years, but in the recent years, we put so much money just to make sure that we also have the responsibility to protect our Earth. So as you can see, like Microsoft is very committed and a secure and a trustworthy platform. Now, what can you build on it? I mean, you can build anything you want in our platform. That might be a conversation for you guys for another day. So that I hope that this gives you guys a high level of what we do in Microsoft, and we do have government cloud data centers separately that we have built with all the FedAMS and GCC different services and things like that. And that's basically what today's presentation is. So, and thank you again, all of you.